glory, and honor to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I'm going to do a quick Romans chapter 12 reading. There's a lot of points in Romans to 12th chapter that really touch my spirit. So I just wanted to share it by doing a reading of this chapter. Lord willing, it's able to, bring that same spirit onto other brothers and sisters, man. It's the book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world. See, that's one of the things that's very prevalent in the laborers and in the servants of the Most High God. We cannot be conformed to this world, right? This world is opposite of the Most High God. Everything in the world is wicked, right? So we cannot be conformed to the world. We have to be transformed by this spirit, by this word, by the renewing, right, of the word through the spirit. Continuing on, but be ye transformed by the renewing of the mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God, right? Verse 3, for I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according to the Most High, have dealt to every man the measure of faith, right? So we don't want to get high-minded, think, okay, I understand the Bible, I could break down a couple scriptures. You don't want to start thinking you that guy, right? You still want to look at yourself on the level that the Most High got you, man. We really just dust and ashes at the end of the day, right? So it's really through the grace and mercy of the Most High God, and that is why we always give all praises, glory, and honor to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Continuing on, verse 4, for as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office, right? So you don't want to think yourself to be the chief member, King David back in the flesh. Don't do that, right? Just be a humble servant of the Most High God. If somebody has a talent that you don't have, acknowledge the talent. Hey, man, this brother's better than that at me. Man, that's mighty. I'm going to go to him for that. He's good at that, right? This brother right here may not be as good at it, right? So we want to always acknowledge where you at through the Spirit. Hey, this person understands the scriptures, right? If you need scriptures, you want to go to this man. He has the understanding, right? Let me receive it from him. That's humble, right? The meek shall inherit the earth. You want to move in a humble and contrite spirit. And I'm going to read that again. It says, for I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according to as God have dealt to every man a measure of faith, right? So you have some with small faith, and then you have some with droves and large amounts of faith, right? So one of those guys, if you have small faith, you want to go to somebody with a lot of faith, man, through the Spirit, right? Verse 4, for as we have many members in one body, right? You got fingers, toes, hands, arms, elbows. They do not do the same thing. You have some people that are very good with exhortation. They can go in the scriptures and you feeling down, and next thing you know, you write about the dumps. That's through the Spirit and power of the Most High God, right? You have some that's very good at teaching. They can break it down to the simple, right? Then you have others that's great with alms. They give good alms through the Spirit, right? There's many different talents and members, just as we're compared unto the body, right? You have a shoulder and a knee. They don't do the same thing, right? Your shoulder is responsible for lifting up your arm. Your knee is responsible for walking, right? They have two different tasks. Continuing on, right? It says, and all members have not the same office, as we just went into. Verse 5, so we, being many, are one in Christ, and every one members one of another. So you have one member. Of course you can sub. All praise to the Most High, right? So you have one member that assists another member, right? The brother with alms may give to the brother who doesn't have much, right? The sister who can sew may make a garment for another brother, right? Hey, a brother might not know how to cook, right? He may have to find a sister that does know how to cook, man, and use that, right? And this is how we become one body. Each member of the body has to contribute something to the body, right? Verse 6, having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given unto us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the portion of faith. So if you have the knowledge and the understanding of the scriptures, you should be prophesying, because that gift was given to you through the grace of the Most High, right? You can't hide your gift, right? The Lord talks about that in Luke the 12th chapter. What happens to those who hide their gifts, man? Right? Continuing on, verse 7, or ministry, let us wait on our ministering, he that teacheth on teaching. So if you had a spirit and an understanding to teach, you got to be out here teaching. You can't hide that knowledge, right? So you just gonna heap droves and droves of knowledge for yourself and not share it with the sheep, right? Just referencing Christ, didn't he say to Peter, lovest thou me? Right? If you love me, feed my sheep. And he said that 3 times for completion, right? And to magnify that point, because that was what was important to him, because he was a shepherd. A shepherd is focused on his sheep, but you have different jobs other than shepherd. You got blacksmith in the ancient world, right? You had different types. You got people that build houses. You got different tasks and jobs. So you have ministers, you have teachers, you have prophets, right? And they have different forms of different jobs, right? Continuing on. Verse 8, or he that exhorteth on exhortation, he that giveth, let him do it with simplicity, right? So you got people that know how to get you right up out the hole, man. Hey, brother, here, let me show you this. Look, this happened to one of the prophets. Did you know that? Right? And that could have a brother feeling, oh, man, okay. And I got a question. Show me a prophet that went through no hell. Don't worry, I'll wait, and I'll be waiting forever, because everybody went through hell. Even Christ himself went through hell in these scriptures, right? Because this is what builds you up to be resilient in the understanding in this faith, right? Continuing on. I'm going to read that last point again. It says, let him do it with simplicity. Meaning you don't got to overthink it. You don't got to come up with this big, deep plan. Just give what you got. Whatever you got, give it out. Right? You may think it's little, but to the next it may be major, because they're not capable of doing that. Right? And it says, he that ruleth with diligence, he that showeth mercy with cheerfulness. Right? So it also going into the spirit in which you do things. Right? You want to do it simply, cheerfully, right? With mercy, showing love, right? To your brother, to your nation, right? Continuing on. It says, let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil, meaning you just have a disgust for evil, man. And it says, cleave to that which is good. So if you see somebody, and I'll tell you, I'll use me as an example. If I see somebody and they have a trait that I love, that I like about them, I'm trying to absorb the understanding of that trait and be likened unto that brother in that sense, right? I want to absorb that knowledge, right? I'm not going to be high-minded and think, oh, I'm too good to go learn. I'm going to go learn from the brother, man, right? And it says, be kindly affectionate to another with brotherly love and honoring, preferring one another, right? Not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. So we can't be slothful, and we got to be fervent. We got to have that heat about us, that diligence, that fire for serving the Most High God, right? It says, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation. Why do we got to be patient? Because in tribulation, we show who you really are. You never know or learn somebody when everything is smooth and everything is gravy baby, right? And when somebody's dancing and skipping in the meadows, it's perfect temperatures outside, springy weather. That's not how you meet people. When you understand and you prove somebody, it's through rough times. How do they respond? How do they react? What do they do? Right? And this is how you begin to know this person and their character. Right? That's why it says patient in tribulation. It says continuing instant in prayer. Right? So that's one of your fruits. The scriptures say you will know them by their fruits. So that's one of your fruits. What do? Are you patient in tribulation? Are you instant in prayer? Man, something going on, I'm praying, right? Hey, sometimes you thank the Lord for those things that he taught you, and that understanding he's giving you. the rough times, you should be thanking the Most High, right? Because that shows that no matter what happens to you, you're going to be resilient in this thing, man. You got strong faith, right? And if you faint in the day of adversity, your faith is strong. Your faith is small, right? Continuing on. Distributing to necessity of saints, given to hospitality. Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Right? So you got to meet people where they at. You know, if somebody down lowly, you don't want to come around making jokes. That's not comely, right? You want to move in the spirit and the wisdom in which the Apostle Paul is giving right here. And this is mighty, mighty wisdom. We're blessing those that persecute us, right? Hey, what Christ say on the cross? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Right? They persecuted Christ and thought they was right. Christ asked them, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. They don't know how to understand it. Somebody may curse you as you teach the scriptures. He don't really know what he's doing. He doesn't understand. He thinketh himself to be right. So we have to move with the fruits of the Spirit because we know better. Right? It's not expected for those that don't know to move like those that do know. That's why those that do know have to show an example through the Spirit. Right? Continuing on, it says, be of the same mind one towards another. Mind not high things, but consent to men of a low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Right? So those of a low estate, you might want to come down and sit with them, man. Understand them. Get to know them. Provide some of the wisdom that the Lord has given you through your tribulous times. Right? And this is how you be of the same mind, right? You don't, oh, well, better than, you don't want to be in that spirit, right? You want to be there for somebody, man. That's what the Lord is teaching us all through the scriptures. Be there for your brother, man, right? Prefer your nation. Help them come up. You don't get up and then, you just leave everybody else. Oh, I'm good. That's not the spirit that the Lord's teaching us to move in, right? Verse 17, recompense to no man evil for evil. Right? So just because somebody steals something from you don't mean you go steal something, right? You don't have to be wicked when people are wicked to you. This is how Matthew 5:16, you let your light so shine before men. Because you got to understand what it does to people internally when you move properly with them when they don't move properly with you. Right? There's a spirit associated with everything you do. You want to always register, what spirit is this? What spirit would that be moving in? And this will help you to understand whether you should be doing that or you should be abstaining from that. Or you should abstain from that appearance of evil. Or, hey, this is righteous. I'm going to move closer towards that, right? And it says, provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. So we're not supposed to be just stirring up stuff, right? But one thing we gonna do is defend this gospel. If you start spewing things out your mouth, you don't got the precepts to back up what you're saying, we gotta defend the gospel. It's required. We're commanded to defend the gospel, right? And then it says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Most High, right? And it's two more on this, and I'm going to close out through the spirit and power of the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Verse 20, therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. King David did that, man. He had the chance to take Saul out, man. He didn't do it, right? He held back his sword, right? He showed that brotherly love. And what he did, he threw coals on top of Saul, because Saul wouldn't have did that for him, right? Verse 21, be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good, right? So when wickedness is abounding, all type of negative, we don't join that party. We don't follow a multitude to do evil. We continue to let that light shine before men, and move righteously through the Spirit and through the understanding that the Most High has given us, right? Again, the water for everybody who took the time to listen. All praises to the Most High. This will continue to be up on the channel. This is just a Romans 12 reading, right? Giving all praises, glory, and honor to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Atazawam Tawada, Shalom.